After the great success that was Resident Evil, they had to come up with a second part, and they did. With good old Elsa and Grant, whatever his name is, zombie gorillas, and the bland but monster-filled police station. Oh, wait, that's not the game we ended up with. So let's start from the beginning and get this liquor asshole 100% rendered train going. And let's try and keep our jaws together. Resident Evil 2 was on everything under the sun. From the PS1 to the, of course, main boo, the Dreamcast, to the miraculous port that was the N64. It was also on the PC and GameCube, and of course, the port we've all been waiting for, the Game.com. You know, the Tiger Electronics Game.com.
64 bits, 32 bits, 16 bits, 8 bits, 4 bits, 2 bits, 1 bit, half bit, quarter bit, the wrist game!
But not only because it's one of the highest rated games in the platforms it was, but also because it made the story bigger, the puzzles better, and the acting went from this
Oh, Barry!
to this.
Hold your fire! I'm a human!
So let's start with this masterpiece, shall we? In 1996, after the release of the original Resident Evil, Shinji Mikami started working on a second iteration of the saga, and to direct it, he chose Hideki Kamiya, who later would go to direct Devil May Cry and the sexiest of the witches, Bayonetta. So, development started as smoothly as a sack of potatoes filled with shit going down a flight of stairs. Everyone had different ideas that drove them to make the well-known Resident Evil 1.5. Everything in the game was considered bland and unimaginative, at least by the developers. Even so that they themselves pulled the plug from the game and started from scratch. That's not easy, because 40% of the game was already made, but we're thankful they did, because after that, we got a refined masterpiece. This time, it's not a mansion, but you start smack dab in the middle of a very fucked up Raccoon City. You're either Claire Redfield, Chris's sister, you know, Chris.
Whoa!
And Leon S. Kennedy, who would grow to say great one-liners like,
"Where's everyone going? Bingo? No thanks, bro." Women.
And he had the worst first day on the job, going from house to jeep to... It sucks when you don't get the memo that there's no work tomorrow because the whole fucking city is shitting itself with zombies and Fedora Man with a mean case of anemia and paleness. But the scariest thing of them all is typos. Whew, the worst beast known to man.
I'm cereal.
So Leon and Claire encounter each other and are separated just as fast. And, depending on who you choose, the story changes a little bit. Not too much, granted, but enough to look forward to scenarios A and B. Once you finish scenario A, you get to go to B scenario and fill in some blanks, which is nice, but back to the story. So they put you right in the middle of it. This is the first screen you see when you're handed control of the game, and it tells you,
"Boy, the next word that comes out of your mouth better be some brilliant fucking Mark Twain shit, because it's definitely getting chiseled on your tombstone."
So you try to enter somewhere to seek refuge, but everyone in the city says fucked as you are, if not worse. And just when you think you have a moment to calm your nerves, the game does this. So you keep going in search of refuge when you finally come across the police station, completely barricaded and filled with zombies on the outside. You're greeted with the most iconic song of the game, telling you that this might not be the safe haven you were hoping for. And this is what RE2 does. It breaks what you were expecting from the start and from the first game. It gives you more ammo, more enemies in both quantity and variety, more and bigger places to explore, and the soundtrack that's as haunting and ominous as it is beautiful. The only place where you can feel truly safe, but knowing that in the end you will have to go back out there, are the safe rooms that greet you with this song, telling you just that. Don't get comfortable, just take a deep breath and remember that you will have to go outside to face the nightmare one more time. The game's divided in several buildings: the police station, the sewers, and the lab. And if the Spencer Mansion was a character on its own, the police station is on another level. You can imagine exactly how people worked here. It feels like a livable space, but still keeping to the weird architecture and ominous architectural and stylistic choices from the other games. For example, the police station was at first a museum, so it has that quirky structure, weird hallways and some puzzles that would make you go,
Who builds this shit?
it has an iconic aesthetic that make this location liked and remembered by fans. In fact, this location is so iconic that it was used for Resident Evil 2, 3, Outbreak 2, Umbrella Chronicles, The Dark Side Chronicles, and of course the remakes for 2 and 3. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. The enemies inside of the building make the experience far more memorable. You have the usual zombies and dogs with more detail and variety this time, plants as well, but you also have lickers. And these fucks are relentless. And later in the game they get stronger with bigger claws. Good thing is, they can't see shit, so try and avoid them. Also try being sneaky and maybe you'll end up on top. But be aware that these beautiful skinless puppies are tough and will claw you up if you're not careful. Oh, and also a goddamn giant motherfucking sewer crocodile. And after that, we come across Mr. Sonrisa Fedora Man, the main boy from Colgate who will pursue you, hunt you, and maybe be in the way until you escape, because he is big and all, but he ain't so nimble. But it is a good change and, something that plays with what you're expecting from scenario B of the game. And this brings us back to how this game is. How does it change from the first one and what we can expect from it? Let me just tell you that everything that the first game did, this one did it much better and bigger. The menus are better, it's more cinematic and better acted. The attention to detail is better with subtle things to enhance your experience. Not only the little details, but the big set pieces make this game a much more action-packed and cohesive cinematic experience than the last one. Plus, this one is much better animated, and these are traits that we can see in all of Hideki Kamiya's other works. All of this made Resident Evil 2 the best-selling Resident Evil game, only surpassed by Resident Evil 4 and then Resident Evil 2 Remake. Who would have thought?
Coincidence? I think not!
The things that didn't change from the first one are the tank controls are the main way of controlling the characters, and there's a bit more ammo around for you to take care of any and all of those pesky zombie junkies that come knocking on your door.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. Do you have time to talk about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ? Hey, don't run from the Lord!
But you need to save ammo as well. It's not like you can go guns blazing and shit.
Daddy, chill.
What the hell is even that?
You have to be careful. But this time around, thankfully, Claire and Leon will let you know when they are hurt by changing walking animations and speed, depending on how hurt they are. And that's important to know because you will have to traverse and backtrack a lot in order to solve a lot of the puzzles that the game has in store for you.
Thank you.
Well, that and the fact that you still have limited item space and limited saving, but don't worry, it's got the same yank. Depending on where you look, the story is more concise. And Chief of Police Brian Irons is a full-blown piece of shit. I mean, you understand their intentions. The Perkins are hyper-focused to an obsessive degree on their work. Well, went too far, and that led William to turn into a monster that tries to fuck you up every chance he gets. And then we have Umbrella, who's still dealing with the aftermath of their experiments. Now, where do our heroes come into play here? They kinda pop in the story. Leon is on his stay on the job, and Claire is looking for her brother Chris, and happen to land on this can of worms, but we do get to know our characters this time around, and that's something highly appreciated. Last time, game characters were a little stiff, but this time you get more dialogue talking about them as characters and letting you know them and bring a sense of familiarity. Another thing that makes you bond with the character is that whatever you do in the A scenario affects the other one in the B scenario. For example, what you take here won't be there for the other one, same as this curtains breaking and this gas making enemies tougher. Also, you get different weapons depending on who you're playing as. Claire is a bit tougher to play as due to her not getting as many guns as Leon, who gets all of the toys like the Magnum, but I would recommend playing all 4 scenarios if you have the time. If not, play just the 2 so you can experience the complete story and get chased by Mr. X. When you finish all this, the game does reward you with the 4th survivor, which is basically Hunk's story, but it's more of an arcade-like game. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. You get Extreme Battle, which is basically this version of the Mercenaries, which again, it's pretty cool. It's nothing, oh, it's awesome, but it's pretty cool. You get to play as Chris, and you can also play as the Tofu Survivor, which is, I shit you not, a block of tofu with a knife. So there you have that. There are many versions of this game out there, all of them skyrocketing in price. So which one to choose? Well, you can buy them on the PlayStation Store for the PS3 and PlayStation Vita, but if you decide to buy them physical, you can choose from PS1, Dreamcast, PC, GameCube, and a version that I got not because it's the best one, but it's awesome how they fit and the entire game on it. The N64 one. If all of these failed, don't get the game.com. Might as well miss out and play that. But there's always emulation. And no, I won't tell you where to get it, but will tell you to get pumped and watch the George A. Romero commercial for this game. Yup, that George A. Romero, Mr. Night of the Living Dead. That's all from my end. See you next time. Dream of neon and be kind to each other. Thank you for watching, sharing, and subscribing to my channel. You really are helping me out. See you next time. Thank you and bless.